Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Flight Show. This is Kent, and I am here to do a little bit of a flight show-off review, first impressions. It's really nothing that formal. I was really looking forward to buying the highly anticipated QualityWings 787, and so I've had some time to play with it. And I'm sure there are a lot of people who have posted videos, but I wanted to do a little something for my target audience. And my target audience are those that are kind of new to Flight Simulator and are looking at ways to become more immersive. So one of the big debates is, do you want to have a plane that is kind of light in terms of what it requires to know how to fly it, or do you want an aircraft that's like study level? You got to really sit down with the manual and learn things. And so there are a lot of different ways to look about that. But this aircraft is kind of like study level, but not quite. Not in my opinion, anyway. It's like definitely above Virtual Call. They like to make aircraft that you can just jump into and fly, but it doesn't quite feel like a PMDG level, though it's substantial, believe me. So I think if you're new to flight sim and you're thinking about getting into a plane that's more involved, this is like a really good aircraft to do that, where you can fly it, but you can also learn the systems. And what's also good is if you are a student of PMDG aircraft, or should I say that level of aircraft, but Boeing's, this is going to be a really familiar aircraft to get into. So why don't we just go ahead and get started. We're going to jump into the cockpit here, and we have quite a bit to do. So I'm not going to do this exactly by the book, but I do want to do it nice enough such that you will be able to appreciate the systems. So let's go up here and get the APU started. Turn it on and then start. And that will start up in just a second. Since we're in the cockpit, we will put on, I believe it's the nav lights that are supposed to come on, but it may be the beacon. I'm going to go with the beacon. I tend to forget that, bear with me. And we can also go in here to the lights, get them going. Alright. And we can do the backlighting as well. So things are a little easier to see now. Okay, now while the APU is starting up, the other systems will come online momentarily, and what we can do is come on here to the CDU. Now this is important. We want to get this out of the way first. As you know, the CDU is the computer that basically you program all of your waypoints and so forth into. Now to get this thing started up, it's actually not bad. It might look a little intimidating at first, but see, the systems are coming on, so it's going to pop back on in just a second. Okay, great. Now, before we get really into this, I wanted to show you this particular thing. This is the basically the graphical interface unit that helps you get your fuel and so forth together for your aircraft, and I want to show you how it works. It's actually pretty cool. First off, I'm going to tell it that we're flying a United DC-9 right here. And so how we do the fuel is we come over here to set fuel tanks. Now, I did my flight planning in FSPX. And so I already know what my fuel is going to be, and it's saying here that I'm going to release it with 50,000 pounds of fuel. So here's the total amount. Now, how this calculates it, you're going to see there's a bit of a difference between what FSPX does and what this will calculate. So first off, as I look here, our distance is 899 miles, and our cruising altitude is going to be 36,000 feet. Let's see, 2, 3. And so we say calculate. Now it says we're going to need 40,402 pounds of fuel for this flight. And it automatically, calculated it for you when you're outside fuel tanks. But now I also accounted for hold time and for extra fuel. So FSPX is asking me to put in 50,074. So I can go ahead and just add that to it. No problem. So I'm going to click this until we're close enough. Now remember, you want this to be balanced. So as much as I come up on one end, I'm going to need to come up on the other. So I want my tanks to end up being balanced. Okay, so yeah, that's over by like 20, a little over 25. So now I just have to get these two numbers to match. So that's 24, 901. Nope. Okay, so up 1, up 2, and then up 1. Okay, so 50, yeah, so we're over about 125. So perfect. So we can save this fuel. And then I want to max load, so I'm basically a full flight, and hit max and save settings. So now it's saved to the aircraft CFG. Excellent. So we can go ahead and minimize that. Let's go ahead and load our flight plan. Now, the easiest thing, you can do it manually, but the easiest thing to do is use the company route. So what we'll do is so we've got our position here. We're going to be flying. Oh, I didn't even tell you. What we're going to do is a flight from Denver, or Denver, Colorado, to San Francisco. So we're just going to put in here KDEN, DEN, and load it up. Boom. And then when we go to our route, we'll see. Now, if you were doing a PMDG, you would type in the name of the file and then hit here. But that doesn't seem to work. They may not have that functionality. So what you do here is you go to index and then flight plans. And then we look for, here we go, KDEN to San Francisco. Hit that. And now your route is loaded. As you can see, if I go to legs, all those waypoints are in there. So the next thing what we want to do is go to departure. And my flight plan is already saying that we're going to be leaving on 17 right. So hit next page, and here's 17 right. And our SID, or our standard departure, is going to be Conroe 4, which is right here. Alright, and no transitions, so we can hit route and activate. Execute, boom. Then we go on to preference. So I'm going to ask for 5% reserves, and our cruising altitude is going to be 36,000 feet. 36,000. Flight level 360. And a cost index, I'm going with 35. Different airlines have different cost index. I just go with 35. Roll with that. No big deal. I mean, it's a deal, but for this video, it's not a big deal. All right. And now that we have that, we go ahead and execute. And we can go to, we're going to have a derated climb so that we don't wear out our engines. Maintenance crews will love that. So I'm going to go with 10%. All right. And now we can move on to takeoff. And our takeoff speeds are already taken care of, but we do need to put in our center of gravity. So we have our center of gravity, and we have our flaps at flaps 5, and our flight speeds have already been taken care of. And as you can see, FMC pre-flight is complete. Boom. Now, while this is going on, I should have done this earlier. We need to be loading up our aircraft. So let's go. Let's go over here. Bad Kent did not put on the parking brakes. All right. So now it's asking for a boarding. So we will ask to board, and we are United. So right here. And here is how we open up our doors. So we can go to our control panel and tell it to open the aft doors and the forward doors. And as you can see, the gate is already at door 1. They're bringing in the tail door. I have to disable that because that is so not realistic. But now, so
pre-flight checklist.
As you can see,
may we remind you that all seat backs and brake cables need to be in the upright position.
your announcements. Now let's talk about those announcements. There are cues, since this is not utilizing FS flight crew like you would with PMDG aircraft. But there are, you do have a co-pilot or your first officer, and you have the flight attendants making announcements, but they're cued by events. And so far I can tell that they are triggered by exit open 2. Oh, they want me to open exit 2. Alright. So I'll show you this. Another way you can open that window is hitting right here. And so they want me to open exit door 2. So let's just give them what they want. Okay, it's open. So now you can close that by hitting that again. So anyway, you can go over here, and now, like the 777, you have a checklist that's digital. So where you start is you have pre-flight. So let's just say that we tested our oxygen.
Ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, this is your captain.
Now, once you did that, as you can hear, it has triggered the captain or the first officer, I'm not sure who's talking, to give his first announcement. So that's pretty cool. And if you hit normal, it'll move to the next one. So your checklist will cue the announcements from your first officer and your flight crew. So just something you want to know. Okay, I want to turn on the panel lights here. Okay, and I'm not flying with air traffic control, so we're not going to get that deep into it, but we're just preparing the aircraft. Now, I want to take you over here, because this is one of the things that makes this aircraft rather cool. It's the electronic flight bag right here. Build right in. So, what we will do is we will first off go to dispatch, and we need to load the fuel in the airplane. So remember the thing that we did earlier with the graphical interface unit? Say copy fuel, and it takes the fuel that you loaded. That's what it was in the file, and then you set it to fuel tanks. So now the fuel is loaded on the aircraft. And we said full capacity for cargo. So you click copy payload, it's copied it, and now watch this, you're going to see the plane jump a little bit. So now the cargo is on the airplane. So that is taken care of. Now if we go back to menu and you go to performance. No, is it performance? No, don't want to do that just yet. I want to go back and go to terminal charts. Now, what this does is it copies what you had from the CDU to here. So if you hit that, it's now loaded all that good information. Hit complete. And now you have the charts loaded for your particular departure. Now remember, we're doing a SID of Con R4. So this, you can zoom into it using the zoom keys, or you can use your mouse. So you don't necessarily have to have electronic flight bag working with your aircraft. You've got all of that right here, which is really cool, because at this particular moment, PMDG aircraft don't do that. However, as I understand, the Dash 8 variant of the 747 is going to have this, so we'll see. But that is a really cool feature. But since I'm down here, let's go on and turn on these lights. Sweet. Okay, I don't think I need them backlit. Okay, we're good there. Okay, so let's take a look outside and see what's going on. I know I gotta get the GSX organized so that I don't have to have an open door where it's not supposed to be. Plus the SODE, the controller for gates, it's not really rocking with the Denver scenery that I have here. So please excuse that. But as you can see, our cargo is getting loaded. So I'll take this time to show you a few more features. So if we zoom in here, the nice thing about this aircraft is that since it's a glass cockpit, you can look at different information in different places. So I could go just as easily to here and change this to checklist. And I could do my checklist on the screen right here. Very cool. It doesn't matter if I do it down there or up here. So let's go back to CDU. Oh, not CDU. We want the flight information. And you can also, if you notice, if you look over here, the first officer has the larger display while you're sharing the information about N1 engine, basically engine output information. You can switch that and say, okay, I want the big one, and so I have a more complete situational awareness of my waypoints, and you can put that over here. That's up to you. Now, since I'm over here, let me go ahead and put that back to CDU and go ahead and put the automatic brakes on RTO. Excellent. So that's really cool, and you can look at other systems. You can look at not only your departure, but your, I don't even know what this information is. I haven't played with this fully, but I can see here you can look at fuel. Oh, these are your systems. Okay, so totally cool. Your doors, whole 9 yard, you can do all that right here. So lots to play with, but let me get back to setting the aircraft up so we can just go ahead and get out of here. So since I am here, let's go ahead and arm auto throttle and put on our flight director. I'm not going in a specific order of the checklist in general. I'm just kind of like going with the flow because I just want to show off the systems right now. I'll do one that's like really accurate once I really know this aircraft, and or another aircraft if that's what you want. But for now, this will do. Okay, so let's get this back to our normal information. Good. And in fact, I want to see this other. I want to have my warnings here closer to me so I can see them. Now, you can also export your digital displays. I have another monitor right below this one, and I exported these two displays onto that monitor so it's larger and I can see them better. But since I'm using chase plane, I also can change my perspective for flight so I can have a better awareness of the flight path, especially on approach or taxiing. So as you can see, I go between those two particular things. Okay, so I didn't do this completely cold and dark, so I didn't go through all of these. That's for another day. But here, if you were not on the APU, this is where you would turn on your external power. We're not needing that right now. So we're pretty much set for getting this bad boy on the ground. We're not doing ATC, as I mentioned before. So let's take a look outside and see how far we are. Yeah, we're almost done. In fact, they're putting in their last bit. We should get our, excuse me, we should be getting our indicator that boarding is complete, and we will close our doors and get ready to go. And then you will see how to do startup. Now, startup is not, especially when it's in this partial configuration, it's not really hard. This is a really beautifully automated aircraft. So it's realism and immersive at the same time. It takes a little bit of the immersion out because you don't have to do as much as, say, you would have done on a 737. But that's kind of the cool part. All right, we're putting in our last cargo. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and close the back door. So again, since I'm already out here, I can just go to Instrument Panel, Quality Wings, and close the aft cargo door. And as soon as the loading machine backs out of the way, I'll go ahead and, okay. I'm getting a call. I'll just have to answer that later, so don't worry. Alright, so what we will do here is close. Yeah, they're telling me I can close doors, so okay. Closed. Excellent. And we can go ahead and close our other doors, so we'll call this door 1, door 2, and door 4 left.
Before start checklist?
Alright, so as you heard, first officer asked for before start checklist. So let's go over here to before start checklist. And so we will hit here, passenger signs.
Takeoff. Taxi routes per ATC.
Now, as you can hear, he is going through his pre-flight, not pre-flight, his, why is the name escaping me while I'm talking to you? Because it's live, and obviously that's where your mind just gets a little racy. But essentially, he's going through the announcements. He's going with his pre-flight, his procedures. There's a name for it, and it's just totally escaping me because we're live, and that's how things work. But you heard him give that to his first officer, and I'm going through the rest of the checklist. And as you can see, the flight attendants are now making their announcements to the crew. So we are pretty much ready for pushback. So let's go ahead and get our guys here. And I tell you, when I'm filming. So let's go ahead and pull up and say pushback. Prepare for pushback. And what we are going to want is our nose right, tail left. And no, we do not want to start before. We do not want to start before pushback. All right, so we will have the gates pull back. Okay. So now we are ready.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Excellent. And the flight attendant, she's going through her initial safety announcements with the passengers. So totally cool.
Locking gear. Departure check completed. Light has been inserted. Release parking brakes. Commencing push. All engines clear.
Okay.
Start that wheel.
So now we can start our engines. So what we do here is we turn left to start, and then we turn on our cutoff valve. And then you will see right here engine 2 spooling up. Excellent. Okay, so let's see, has that gone into normal position? Just give it a moment. Now we can start engine 2. Let's get our cutoff valves. And while we're here, okay. And we will turn off those cutoff valves. There we go. Alright, so we are backing up nicely. Turn off the caution light. Alright, so we have no warning lights. And they are backing us up beautifully. Okay. So we already have an aircraft out there taxiing. So we can look at our before taxi checklist. Anti-ice. What's up with our anti-ice? We will not need it, so that's cool. Recall is checked. Auto brakes, RTO. Flight controls, checking them. And we're not clear for ground equipment just yet, so
Set parking brakes.
put this parking brake on. We'll put here our legs. That looks good. Alright. Now he's coming over. My gosh, you'd think he could jog. I mean, we got places to go. Okay, so in the meantime, we will be taxiing to 17 right, which is actually one of the closest runways to us at this particular point, which is excellent. So it won't be that long of a taxi. But once I'm going to tell you, once these engines are on idle, this aircraft moves. So you got to keep on top of your speeds. You don't want to, go too fast on the ground. And I don't know if it's just my controller or if it's, common of this aircraft. But, if it was moving forward, it's going to drift to the left or the right. And so you're going to be continually correcting. Not like you just let it coast and take your feet off the pedals and just do something. No, you're going to have to be involved with this. Okay, so they are disconnected. So we can go ahead on our checklist and say ground equipment. Well, he's going to tell us it's clear. So let's, not be totally outrageous. Let's just wait for him to give us the clear. And then we'll, continue on.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
All right, ground equipment clear. Now we will put our flaps on flaps 5. As you can see it right there. So we can go to our checklist and say flaps are in position. Excellent. Next will be, why did it jump to, I think it was advancing it before, so it should be at before takeoff. Oh, that was before takeoff. That was my bad. So once we are at the, runway, we can go with that. So let's go ahead, release our brakes, and as you can see, plane starts to go. So we're just going to give it a little bit of throttle and follow these other aircraft out. Okay. And as I said, you do not want this airplane getting away from you. So by the way, I messed up something. Need to do our lights, so let's go ahead and get those and our taxi. Okay, I can tell that we are drifting here, so let me. But it's not very stable in terms of its taxiing, and I do not know why. But we'll just go with that. No big deal. So depending on your procedures of your airline, we could put on VNAV or LNAV. It just depends. I do not particularly know what United's policies are, so I'm just going to go ahead and arm LNAV and VNAV right now. And as you can see, our speed really was getting up there. So you just want to stay on top of it. I'm saying that we're going to achieve a flight level of 12,000 feet after departure. Like I said, I'm not using ATC, so I'm just making that one up. No big deal. And so our taxi to the runway is not going to be an incredibly long one. Now, if I was going with what I see, oh yeah, the other aircraft appear to be in the same game plan. The FPX says I'm leaving on 17 right, that's what I'm leaving on. These other guys, they just do what they do. For my traffic, I'm using Ultimate Traffic Live, and I do like it. Now, let me, tell you a little tale. I bought early access Traffic Global because their aircraft they're more detailed than the ones here in live. And I'm all about immersion, so I just let it roll, and I bought it, and I said, well, let me try out the early access. That was the biggest nightmare of my life. Now, the first release had some bugs. Certain aircraft didn't have their colors or their skins on them, but I could live with that. And the sounds were great. Then they released their first update, and everything went to hell. Prepared wouldn't load. I was getting these weird errors called child window error, something like that. I was like, oh my gosh, you have completely messed up my sim. and their support forums didn't really do much to help me. In fact, I had to give them some tips because one guy was like, my thing won't start no matter what I do. Well, what I had to do is uninstall it, and I had to go into my scenery config and take out lines that it had changed. It was insane. Now, is that to say don't buy Global? I'm saying do not get it until they do the next update, and even then, proceed with caution because it's early access. That was just a dumpster fire hot mess. Jeez, that was annoying. But anyway, I'm gonna let it go. Let it go, Louie, let it go. Alright, so we are continuing to taxi, but I do like Ultimate Traffic Live is great if you're into that, but Global's really gonna be good. It's a different premise on how it handles the traffic, but the aircraft will be more detailed in Global, so I am looking forward to it. Or I hope Ultimate Traffic Live releases an update that allows these aircraft to look a little bit better. Sorry, I was looking over off the side of my screen and I just turned your entire head around. But as you see, the traffic here, they get to going. So it's a busy, vibrant, live airport, and that's one of the things I like about this Ultimate Traffic Live. Okay, so let's get back to our taxi and get out of here. And what I think I'm going to do is divide this video up into two parts because we're already at 31 minutes. And so I'll do the approach when we get to San Francisco in our second video. I think that'll be cool. But right now, we're just going to get on our departure and heading up to cruise speed. And, cruising altitude, sorry. And let's see how it goes. Alright, so then we're going to taxi down this this taxiway. Actually, I think what we'll do is go down M, in case there's any oncoming traffic. Cleared on this side. Alright.
Before takeoff checklist.
Flight attendants.
Now notice that they called for before takeoff checklist. Because we're at that point in the checklist and we're near the runway, so it has a certain situational awareness. Alright, so quickly let me go down here. Flaps, did that. So then the next thing will come is after takeoff checklist. We'll get to that in just a moment. Now right now we're ground speed of 23 knots, so I'm gonna back off the throttle, toe tap the brakes just so that we don't get out of hand, because I believe the maximum taxi speed is 25 knots, so don't want to go above that. So as you can see, a Southwest aircraft is already taxiing out there. Love that, because it just makes you feel you're a part of something, like this world that's live and vibrant and going on. There's some people who actually don't really have a thing for AI aircraft. They just want to fly and do their thing. Hey, not knocking it. Or they'd rather be on VATSIM and it be other pilots, virtual pilots around the world, which is totally cool too. And I haven't done a video with I have not done a video as of yet with flying on VATSIM. Gotta add that. I really want to take it to the next level and do Pilot Edge, but gotta be ready for Pilot Edge, because those are real air traffic controllers and they are not playing. So it's a little intimidating, but my dad told me once, do not run from the dog, it will surely bite you, but if you stand and fight, you have a chance. So don't avoid it. Get online, learn. You're gonna make mistakes as with everything, but that's cool. Oh, here is the other feature I wanted to show you. This actually comes with the map of your respective airport in your digital display. So another reason that your electronic flight bag that you might have to use externally is right here in the glass display. This is totally cool. Now, I also understand PMDG 747-8 is supposed to be doing that, but I'm just saying, hats off to Quality Wings for pulling this off, because that is cool. So we're almost at our runway. Okay, I just want to get a grasp on, because while I was talking to you, I think I have totally lost sight of where I'm supposed to be. So let me just check. I may have overshot it. Oh my gosh. You know what? Talking to you, I went way too far. That's okay. We are going to correct this. So I'm going to just bring this back as soon as I get to the runway. Okay. We are back, and we're at the runway where we're supposed to be. So we're going to put it right here, and then, go through our, runway entry procedures, and then we'll be on our way. Sorry about that miss up. Gosh, that's why you have to have a first officer keep you in line when you're messing up. Okay, so we have our lights on. We just want to turn off our taxi lights, and we want to put on our landing lights. Should have turned off our APU a long time ago. Okay, we're going to assume that they gave us clearance for takeoff, and we're going to move out of this bad boy. All right.
Runway verified.
First officer has just verified runway, which is totally cool. We're lined up, and if this was FS crew, we'd be saying takeoff. You'd say check, but this isn't FS crew, so whatever. Okay, and we are accelerating for takeoff. Okay, we're backing out of that. 80 knots. We're a fat heavy, baby. Fat heavy. V1.
Rotate.
Rotate.
V2. Positive rate.
Positive rate. Gear up. Alright, I'm just following the flight director right now. Not very well. There we go. And if you notice, the auto throttle kicked in the moment we left the ground. Alright, bring that nose down a little bit. There we go. Keep it a climb. And it's a little bit of a challenge to fly. Now, this is a fly-by-wire aircraft, but I find myself struggling sometimes to keep it on the flight director more so than I would with a, say, a PMDG aircraft. Now, oh yeah, raise flaps. And, you know, I'm not trying to sound like fanboy for a PMDG, but they make really good steady level aircraft. But at the same time, FS Labs and their Airbus 320, I haven't flown their version for Prepared 4, but I have done it Prepared 3, and it's an excellent aircraft. But the majority of my experience is with PMDG, so I use that as kind of like my comparison. And to be fair, they are the gold standard of study level aircraft for Boeing, so you know I can dig that. All right, so now, oh, we're like losing altitude. That's totally unprofessional. But okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn on the autopilot.
Autopilot on. Autopilot in command.
Okay, so autopilot's on and in command, and he already said bring up flaps. So let's go ahead and do that. And there is Denver in the distance. And we can go ahead and bring our heading bug in the appropriate place. Now, we are almost at altitude, so let's go ahead and raise that, because we would have gotten our altitude by now. Let's go ahead and make this flight level 250. Okay, and we can do our after takeoff checklists. That's already knocked out. Okay. Excellent. So, now we're heading up to cruising altitude. So, we will take a break here, and I will rejoin you for our approach as we come, as we're approaching SFO or San Francisco International. Okay, so there is an aircraft in the vicinity. Let me back out here on my, I have Flight Sim Command. Oh, that was a close call. We were like really close to each other, but as you saw, we were also warned by our flight radar. I think what we'll do is keep you until a little bit before cruising altitude, just also that you can appreciate the visuals. To tell you a little bit about what I'm running here. So I'm running, as you know, oh wow, that was close, because you can see them off in the distance there. Next time, have flight air traffic control. So I'm running Prepared 4.2, version 4.2. My weather is being done by Active Sky for Prepared 4, and the weather textures is by Rex Skyforce 3D. So the Skyforce 3D is handling the rendering, and Active Sky is handling the actual data of what weather should be out there. And we're now above. Oh, I should have done this a while ago. We can turn off landing lights. Logo and wing could go off. And our pressure is standardized. Okay. My scenery, I was using Flightbeam's. Actually, it's interesting. I'm flying for two Flightbeam airports, Denver, Colorado, and Flightbeam's San Francisco, which we will be approaching. And obviously, I have Orbx Global, Orbx North America, and Orbx Vector. So those are all these things running that are giving you the visuals that we have right now. And as we are now approaching flying over the Rockies. So that's basically your aircraft set up. So I'll do one other thing we didn't check. Let's go back to CDU. Let's look at our legs. I want to see, is everything in line for our arrival? but I'll do that in our approach video. So, all in all, do I like this aircraft? Yes. I have not flown another aircraft since I've started learning this, and maybe because it's fun to learn. I will say this: the visual qualities. It could be because this is modeling a glass cockpit, but this looks just a little cartoony to me. It looks a tad more realistic in PMDG cockpit. So now the overhead, I think, is looking really good, but this area right here just, to me, just seems like a little, I don't know. But as I said, is it study level to PMDG on the upper end of the spectrum? I would say not quite. Is it low level of like virtual call aircraft where you just hop in and fly? Definitely not. I would say that this is almost a little above Aerosoft's CRJ 700 series for their aircraft. I think it's like a little above that in terms of the commitment you need to learning the aircraft, but a little bit below, say, a PMDG Boeing aircraft. But as you can tell, if you are, I thought it was armed, I have no idea. If you are a student of Boeing aircraft, flying this aircraft is going to seem very familiar to you, and the learning curve will not be that bad, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So I hope this addresses some things, and I hope it convinces you to either yay or nay purchase this aircraft or not. Alright, so I will see you on approach. Thanks for listening in.